Hey guys, welcome to Monday Morning Leadership. This is Brad Krantz. Today, my Monday Morning Leadership is on the continuing topic of questions. Questions to ask other leaders. Last week we looked at 12 questions that leaders ask other leaders, and I hope that was helpful to you. I think it's insightful to think in the um, context of questions and about asking questions. That's kind of what I've been focusing the last couple messages here on. But this week, we're going to dig into questions to ask other leaders, whether you're a leader or not. But what can you ask maybe people that you look up to, people that you see as leaders? And I have to mention, summer's arrived here in Seattle. I mean, we were having a record-setting heat wave, had like 97 yesterday. I think it's going to be 106 today, 111 on Monday. So we're surviving it, but hope you are staying cool wherever you are. So remembering from last week, and I've repeated this, I think it's worth repeating the title from John Maxwell's book, that for emphasis, that good leaders ask great questions, right? Hopefully you got that. So what questions do leaders ask for growth? I didn't focus this on career because it was too much job focus, but what questions would you ask if you wanted to be, you're an aspiring leader and you wanted to grow? So I think one, having a list of questions can help make for a successful encounter with your leaders, right? It shows that you're prepared, and it also makes you stand out from others because you're someone that shows that they're passionate about their personal growth, perhaps, and you're looking to excel as a leader. So having a list of questions prepared is great. If you know 2 or 3 questions maybe, but I'm going to give you a list of 15 here coming up. But I think it's great just to have some questions. What would you ask somebody that you wanted to get to know, somebody you looked up to as a leader, an entrepreneur, whoever it might be? So to help you get started, here's 15 top questions to ask leaders that you respect. And I ask you to kind of think about each one of these. I'm going to throw a little bit of commentary in on my end, but first one is, who do you look up to for inspiration or mentorship? As a leader, it's important to maintain connections with role models and mentors. Regardless of a leader's success, there are, individuals that you want to go to when you need advice, or that when they need advice from themselves. I think right now I'm focused on Michael Saylor, CEO of MicroStrategy. I like how he thinks. I like how he's navigated through some challenges in his business and what he's doing in the realm of digital assets for his company. So that's somebody I'm looking up to right now and following, reading about him. 2, what's one decision you wish you didn't make? And I've got one. I should have continued a business that kind of was a big cash flow drain. But, we know a big part of growth is learning from other people's mistakes, right? And you can save yourself a lot of time and resources by speaking with leaders who have made mistakes when encountering situations similar to your experience. So you don't make the same ones, right? Making mistakes are okay. It's just don't make the same mistake twice or 3 times. Thirdly is, how do you keep, if you're more in a team environment, how do you keep your team motivated despite conflicts and obstacles? Well, I think one of the most insightful questions to ask someone who's a seasoned leader, because it involves their vision and how they help their organization achieve its goals. So what's their vision? But I think 2 is just asking questions of your team, allowing an environment where your team can ask questions, because I've been in too many situations where there wasn't a lot of questions really allowed. It was kind of just given cursory nod, but they didn't really want to hear input from, let's say, the rank and file per se. Fourthly is, what are the most important attributes of successful leaders today? Okay, and this is a big one. This question can demonstrate the power of communication skills, empathy, vision, strategic thinking, and other desirable qualities of a leader. And you can still become an exceptional leader by studying the habits of successful leaders, right? What do successful people do? How do they think? How do they act? How do they do a whole host of things, and study those? And then fifth, kind of coming on the tail end of that, is, what qualities are lacking among today's leaders? I would say number one, integrity. And we certainly see this without getting too political. In the political realm, there's just a massive lack of integrity. People don't say what they mean. They don't mean what they say. They don't do what they say. But this is a powerful question that can reveal your own shortcomings as a leader. If you ask another leader what qualities are lacking, and a good, strong leader can tell you, and you might say, oh yeah, hey, that's one I need to work on, or I didn't think about that, or I don't have one. that one, I'm not as strong there. So that's a great question. But what qualities are lacking among today's leaders? And I think integrity is the linchpin of all characteristic traits of leaders, by the way. Number 6, can ask them, what are your current goals? Right? Leaders who excel and are good at what they do generally, I'd say without exception, they have goals that they're currently pursuing, even if they're already successful or they hold a position of stature, right? And successful people are goal oriented. They have goals. They're working toward their goals, right? So find out what some of those are. Those might give you some inspiration. 7, what's one thing that makes you most proud? And this response could reveal a side of the person that you never knew existed. If they tell you, I would say on my end, I just being able to take a risk and still be in the game at 60 years old. Okay. But certainly asking questions can hopefully reveal things about people that you didn't know about. And that can be important for you and your personal growth as a leader. Number 8, what's the most important risk you took and why? Okay, when they answer this question, some risks, may bring fond memories, while others might elicit strong emotions of opportunities lost. I think the biggest thing here for me is, leaders take risks. They need to set an example. They need to take risks. 9, how do you continue to grow and develop as a leader? Again, this is a big one, personal growth. The most respected leaders know how to stay ahead in their industries. They continue to upgrade their skills. They make new connections. They improve their relationships, and they take advantage of worthy opportunities, right? I'd say personal growth never stops for a leader, and it's not optional if you want to be a leader. Number 10, how do you align your organization with your vision and mission? This is kind of more for maybe the corporate environment, but successful leaders, people that are successful, achieve more than others because they know how to best utilize people and resources for the sake of accomplishing their common goals. So you can learn from somebody else, but how did they employ their resources and people and gain insight on that? Number 11 is, how do you generate great ideas in your organization? Well, this goes back to, again, I kind of touched on it previously, but good leaders ask great questions. By asking this question, you can discover, hopefully, ways kind of to enhance making your employees or team members better idea generators. Create open communication. That's really a big thing, is allow people to ask questions, but ask questions of people. Don't assume you know everything, but by asking questions, you can sometimes get insight into issues or maybe potential problems that you wouldn't otherwise. So that's one way to generate great ideas in your organization. Maybe you have some others on that. Again, I'd love to hear feedback on this when you get done with this and after you watch it. Number 12, what are the most important traits to look for when hiring a new employee? Again, this is kind of an employer situation, but you can ask this leader how they handle hiring and what to look out for. Again, you don't do things that you can avoid stepping on a minefield, that type of thing. What are kind of some things that you look for when you hire somebody, right? Initiative, are they prompt? If they have a resume, is that up to date? Are they dressed appropriately? What's their posture like? Questions they're asking, things like that. So that can give you insight on, if you're hiring, how to hire the right people, how to ask the right questions when you're hiring. And 13, this is a really big one. I'd like to take more time to go into it, but I won't. But what 3 books can you recommend on leadership? Leaders are readers. Books are some of the best sources for gaining wisdom and knowledge from others. And I would say, John Maxwell's The 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. I would also say, good leaders ask great questions. And I would also say Developing the Leader Within You. Those would be 3 that I think are really key and foundational to build and grow. But, each leader is going to probably have their specific books, and again, getting recommendations from people that are successful that you look up to can be really helpful for your own growth. I know it has been for mine too. So when somebody that I looked up to or respect recommends a book like Michael Saylor, I'm going to put that book on my list. I'm put on my list to read shortly, because I want to know what they know, what they read. And so again, reading is critical, because I think it helps you to develop critical thinking skills and to reflect. So ask for recommendations on books if you're lacking in that area. Okay, this is a huge one. And number 14, what do you consider before promoting someone? Again, if you're an employer-employee relationship, this would be important. Kind of like, how do you hire the right people? But you may not be in a position to promote people now, but it helps to know the factors to consider when choosing between maybe 2 or more similarly qualified people or candidates, right? So they can help give you insight on how do you promote somebody. I got two people that look both the same. What's going to be the best one? And maybe it's just a toss up, but from somebody else's experience, you can probably learn how to analyze and assess and make the right hiring decision there for you. Lastly here, guys, is 15. What's the most dangerous trait in a leader's career? That might seem like kind of an odd question, but there might be personality traits that you possess that could unknowingly hinder your professional growth, right? I've learned this. I've heard it said, you don't know what you don't know. Part of your goal is to find out what it is you don't know, but you can get input and perspective from someone successful that might be able to point out traits that could hinder your professional growth that you maybe hadn't thought of or didn't think to acknowledge. So important questions to ask leaders. And I hope these questions stimulated your thinking. Let me know if they did. And I'd like to know how. Maybe which one or one stood out most to you, and what resonated most with you. Okay, was there a particular one that said, hey, this one really struck me. I really need to work on this area. Again, guys, I would love to hear your feedback. Thank you so much for tuning in today, guys. Have an awesome Monday. Bye-bye.